Hello and welcome to another weekly update. This one might be a little bit of a long one again. I don't know. We'll have to see. See how it goes. But yeah, welcome to another weekly update. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, then you might just have missed the beginning of this video, for which I apologise. But also, if we go over 10 minutes, it's also going to cut off because that's the LinkedIn video limit. Sorry. Maybe just watch it on YouTube. So thoughtstuff.co.uk/videos is where you can go for that. Lots of interesting things happen this week. Plenty of news to go through and other interesting things happen. So Ava Technologies sent me a care package in the week, which is very nice of them. Thank you to them. Included in that is a Cam 540, which is a 4K Microsoft Teams certified conference camera. So very excited to be able to play with that. One of the really interesting things I'm looking forward to with that is it's got what's I think it's called an analytics API or an activity API maybe. I can't quite remember the official name, but it lets you see how many people are in the room. So the camera has some built-in intelligence to count people in the room and also activity. So it knows kind of how long the room's being used for. So very excited to see if I can access some of that in the API, and if I can, then that will definitely be some blog posts because I think that's really interesting, all that stuff. So yeah, plenty of kind of interesting things coming up as well. Also in the week, was it this week? It might even have been last week now. I sat down with Mark Vail. So Mark is the driving force behind Commsverse, which is a community event, Microsoft Teams community event, originally going to be in the UK in person. Got moved because of the coronavirus stuff. Dates got moved around a bit, and then eventually went online in July. So that's just happened, and so kind of really talking to him because he really based the whole conference around Teams. So don't want to spoil too much of that interview by going through the detail of it now, but I need to write that after the blog post really because it was really interesting. So we chatted for probably getting on for an hour. So it's going to be a really long interview when it comes out, but full of some really interesting things. Okay, so let's talk through some of the other interesting things that happened this week. So let's have a look. So the first thing to talk about is this, which is a blog post I've literally just put up actually because I've just found out about it. And I found this out by going to the Microsoft Graph changelog. So Graph has a changelog you can go to. It details all the changes they want you to know about, which is almost normally about the same as the changes that actually happen. But this one came in August, so I think probably in the last couple of days. It is 3 new reporting endpoints that you can use to get additional information about app usage in Microsoft 365. No beer today, I'm being good, just water. But by apps, I don't mean Teams apps, I actually mean Microsoft 365 apps. So being able to report on usage of like Word and Excel and PowerPoint, OneNote and Teams. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. There's a couple of different ways you can use it as well. There's like an aggregate view, there's a detailed view, there's a view that just gives you the aggregates over by platform rather than by application. So depending on what it is you're trying to look at or the information you're trying to get out, there's probably something in there for you. So definitely worth a look if you do any kind of usage or user adoption or training stuff and you want to kind of track maybe if you look across your organization, there is not very much Excel usage and you think there should be, so maybe you target some users with Excel training and then you want to go back and see has Excel usage gone up. So you can kind of do all of that with this data that is kind of made available to you now, so that's all good. I've got some links here to the documentation pages on the Microsoft Graph docs. They're really good actually. So you can see they fit in the beta namespace. So these are currently beta, they're not 1.0. So just bear that in mind. This big important banner here, they're just currently for use, not in production. Permission set stays the same. And there's a good example here on how you might use it using the period values. So it's really kind of fairly simple. It's just calling this endpoint and providing the period of one of the last 7 days, last 30 days, last 90 days, last 180 days. And then, so what's slightly different to some of the other API calls in Graph is the data gets returned to you in CSV format. So that's just something. You can also do JSON format if you want. You need to do that by changing this format parameter to have the results return in JSON if that's what you want to do. Here's an example of the data that comes back. So this is the platform user count, so it's aggregating all of app usage by different platforms. But if we get one of the slightly more interesting ones, like get user detail, you can see in the response for a particular user, a specific user, you can see are they active for Windows, for Mac, for mobile, for web, but then also the applications, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and then the kind of combination of those things, Outlook on Windows, Word on Windows, Excel on Mac, Excel on mobile. So really interesting way of tracking activity. Yeah, so this is good. There's no kind of detail on what gets a user from a false to a true here. The documentation pages just say usage, so it's unclear whether you have to meet a minimum bar of usage or whether it's just kind of any old usage will do. So you can use this to provide high-level stats around different, like usage of different applications in your organization. Okay, next, another blog post I did to confirm a speaking engagement I have coming up in about a month's time. It's organised by London Reactor, so this time it's going to be a virtual event for fairly obvious reasons. It's not going to be in London. But that's good because everybody can join. I think it's going to be a Teams event when it happens. It's being organised by the Reactor London sort of group or committee staff, I suppose. By the way, London Reactor, really cool venue. I was there a few years ago. I gave a talk there. I put a link to that actually in the blog post. Really, really nice space, lovely people. It's a great idea as well, great community engagement idea. So I'm a big fan of the reactors, and I went to a good reactor. So I've been to the London one, and I've been to the one in Tel Aviv randomly. I think I was there for its opening night, which was a really good event. Anyway, they made a really cool short link as well for this one, aka.ms/Reactor Teams Developer. So if you go there, that will get you into the meeting. You can also go to Meetup, read a bit more about the abstract, about what I'm going to be talking about, which is going to be exploring the Microsoft Teams developer platform. No surprises, probably. But you can read the abstract and you can register to attend on Meetup as well and share that Meetup link with anyone else you think might be interested. All right, Microsoft Ignite. Microsoft Ignite is coming around quickly. It's going to be the end of September. I think we found that out a couple of weeks ago. But now there's something you can do to get involved with Microsoft Ignite this year. So we already know it's going to be a virtual event. We already know it's going to be free to attend. It's going to be a complimentary event. And now you can get involved by submitting yourself for a Microsoft Ignite table talk. So this sounds like a brand new idea. I've not heard of this before. It's new to Ignite. And the idea is to kind of drive kind of community engagement, get people from the community talking to each other on a sort of chosen subject, if you like. So there's a call for moderators right now to be a moderator for one of these table talks. So you on a subject you're passionate about, a subject you think should be discussed, that can be tech-based. It doesn't have to be tech-based. You can talk about some of the kind of other kind of skills and problems and challenges that we have in our industry. You can talk about what it's like to be a developer or a tester. You can talk about particular technology and how, things could improve there, or, ways of working. There's a million different things you could talk about. Crucially though, go and submit a session. If you're at all interested in doing this, if you're interested in being a moderator and in getting involved in Microsoft Ignite this year, go and submit a session. Don't worry about time zones. They're going to be holding them in 3 different time zones, and you get to choose the one that sort of maps most nicely to where you live. And also, if English is not your first language, I think the table talks will be held in English, but they will be supported with all the translation support that Microsoft has at their disposal. So I wouldn't, don't let that put you off from submitting a talk, please. Do go and submit those sessions. Sorry, not table talks submissions anyway. Yeah, so that's definitely worth going to look at. I'll put a link there in the blog post to the there's a form to fill in, a Microsoft form to fill in to submit your moderations. You can submit multiple ones. I think they suggest you don't do more than 3, otherwise it gets a bit overwhelming, but you can definitely do more than 1. All right, next up. So this is good. This is fun. This is like a fun developer, nothing to do with Teams, just purely development for a minute. Interesting thing. So you probably heard about Blazor, the kind of new kind of cool, fun way of writing web apps. You may vaguely know what it is. You may even know what it is. I sort of vaguely know what it is. There's a good MVP who lives really close to me, actually, in my city, called Chris Sainty, who knows he's the expert on Blazor. So I kind of go to him if I have any questions about Blazor. But this is a really cool blog post, because this is if you don't know what you're doing with Blazor, but you've heard it's cool and you just want to try something, this is that blog post. This is like a how-to walk through from nothing, 0 to hero, get something up and running really quickly. So looking through this blog post, it's got the prerequisites, shows you how to go kind of file a new project, what to search, what type of project, choose a Blazor app, what that means, what you do after that, kind of walking you through how to set it up, how to get your first app going, how the permission model works, and a bunch of things going, and then how to kind of actually do something with it. So getting data from Graph using the APIs, go and setting all that stuff up, putting it all in and making something working. So all the way down. I've just noticed this looks like it's been written by Christos. They don't say. Interesting. So this looks, by the screenshot, it's been written by Christos Matskas, which means it'll be an excellent blog post. I didn't notice that until just now, so that's good. Christos, thank you for this. This is exactly what I needed. So thanks very much for doing this. Yeah, perfect. And of course, all the source code is available on GitHub. This is really cool. I like blog posts like this that kind of quickly skill you up if you're interested and you don't have the time to go through and learn the whole thing in detail, because it might not even be the right thing anyway. You just want to see how far you can get in an hour or two. Like, this is a perfect blog post for doing that. So I'm going to try and do this over the weekend for something different to do. Finally, kind of a long one this week. Oh, I don't know, 13, 14 minutes. Yeah, a little bit longer than usual, I suppose. We haven't even talked about the weather. Oh, it's been so hot this week. I know, like, I'm British, so I like to moan about the weather, but it's we moan about it because we are not well set up for the extremities. We have extremities of weather in terms of cold and hot for probably a week, maybe a week and a half every year. And that's not really long enough to do things like put in AC or like rebuild the houses to be cool or warm or anything like that. But it is just long enough to moan about. And then for the rest of the year, the weather is like fine, like normal, like regular, like not too hot, not too cold, Goldilocks weather. Well, a little bit on the cool side maybe. But anyway, so this has been one of those hot ones. It's been like a week of really hot all day, kind of heat the whole house up, and then it doesn't cool down sort of weeks. So yeah, but we're coming out of that now, I think. Looking outside, looks kind of overcast and the temperature's dropping off again, so that's good. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, last thing. I did another blog post about the Microsoft adoption site. So this is a relatively new landing site Microsoft have launched for everything user adoption. Again, not specifically Teamsy or developer, but I think it's interesting talking through, because it doesn't matter that you're a developer for Microsoft Teams. I bet you've been asked how to do stuff on the Microsoft stack by friends or family or co-workers or people you know in the industry that might not be Microsoft aligned, but they're aligned to something else, and you've got questions. They have questions on the Microsoft stuff, so they come to you because you're the Microsoft person. And even inside teams, there might be stuff you don't know how to do. And so I think especially at the moment where a lot of people have been thrust into using Teams way more than they might expect to. So all those people have questions and they will ask anyone. And if you look like you've got the answers, they'll be asking you. So you do kind of care about this adoption stuff, even if you don't really care about it. So this is where you can send all those people. Adoption.microsoft.com. So this is the blog post I did about it. I did like a video as well. So if that's interesting, I'm kind of walk through the whole site, the bits I found interesting. So I'm not going to do that again here because you can just go and watch that video. Yeah, I did that. Like, you could definitely go check out the adoption site because it's just a really good landing place of all the cool stuff that Microsoft do for user adoption, all the training materials, the templates, the onboarding, the checklists, the how-tos, the whys, the stuff aimed at IT pros, the stuff aimed at developers, the stuff aimed at business, the execs. Like, everything you need is kind of all lined up in one place. So definitely go check that out, and check out the video as well if that's interesting. All right, I think that's everything from me. Yeah, I'm going to call it a week. I'm trying to think through what's coming next week, but I can't. So I'm going to try and write up the interview with Mark. I'll try and get out the. I did an unboxing video for that Ava camera, so I'll try and get that out. I haven't had a chance to set it up. I'm still working through sorting out how this study looks. I'm still waiting on some furniture. So really want to order a unit from IKEA. But they're like crazy. They're not even back ordered. They're just like refusing to take orders. So it's a horrible case of like refreshing the site every few days and seeing if it's back in stock, and if we can get it delivered or if we can go collect it or whatever. So that's what I'm waiting for, because then once we have that, then I can put the TV up. And when I put the TV up, then I can put the conference camera up, and then like it all kind of nicely comes together. But that bit behind me then will change and get nicer, hopefully, because there'll be more things to look at. So that's the plan, but it's kind of waiting on IKEA. So that's where we're at with that. Anyway, have a great weekend, whatever it is you're doing. Try and get some rest. And yeah, speak to you again next time. Have a good one.